Hello, this is S.K. Williams, and I have been banned from commenting for 24 hours on YouTube comment sections. Again. Because this isn't the first time this has happened to me, or the second time, or the third time. It's actually more like the seventh time, which sounds like I'm an awful person who endlessly posts hateful comments. I'm not. In fact, over the last 2 or 3 days, I haven't posted any hateful content that I know of. I have commented on Disney's Star Wars The Acolyte, usually by way of making a joke that's in response to someone else's response. Jokes that are generally favorably reviewed because I get thumbs up on them. Sure, some of them don't get that, or some only get 1 or 2, but generally well reviewed. I have commented on politics, with the assassination of Donald Trump and the oddity of Joe Biden leaving the office, but nothing particularly controversial. I haven't denied that Trump had a real assassination attempt. I haven't stated it was staged or anything, nor have I egregiously attacked President Joe Biden. I have commented on a few other movie sites and some biblical information. The most controversial post I have made recently was to someone who made a video, and his video claimed that Carlo Maria Vigano, former archbishop within the Catholic Church, is now a Protestant. And my comment, or two, because it was a bit of a conversation, included saying that Vigano is not a Protestant, because even though the term Protestant comes from to protest, the term now has a specific meaning, and to be a Protestant you have to believe in salvation by faith alone, and that the Bible is the sole source of authority in matters of faith and practice. And Vigano does not believe either of those things, and is therefore no more a Protestant than Eastern Orthodox Christians or Oriental Orthodox Christians would be. And this person had actually listed other Protestants, like Old Catholics and the SSPX, and I pointed out that Old Catholics are also not Protestant because they also don't believe the Protestant distinctives. One may call Vigano and Old Catholics schismatic, but one cannot call them Protestant. He then mentioned the SSPX, the Society for St. Pius X, and I told him that they aren't even schismatic. They are actually considered to be in communion with Rome. He replied that the SSPX is not in communion with Rome. They are a schismatic group. They are outside of the church. And I responded to him saying that other than Williamson, who has himself left the SSPX over anti-Elvinism. I'm going back to using euphemism for certain terms. All of the excommunications for the SSPX bishops were lifted. And while the Society of St. Pius X has no canonical standing in the church and is considered illicit, it is considered in communion with Rome. It simply exists in a state of impaired communion. Further, he claimed that for the last 3 popes they had been declared schismatic, but that is definitely not true because Pope Benedict XVI lifted their excommunication, which means they are in communion with the Catholic Church. They are officially listed as irregular. They are not, however, listed as schismatic. And it was stated by Pope Benedict XVI that one could fulfill one's Sunday obligation by going to an SSPX chapel, and that while their masses are illicit because they do not exist within the diocesan structure or have an indult, and the society has no canonical standing, their masses are considered valid. However, because of canon law, they were forbidden to perform marriages or to fulfill the rite of penance. What more famously is known as confession, to those of you who don't know. However, Pope Francis expanded their rites, likely in an effort to further reconcile with the society, and said that they do now have the right to perform matrimony and for penance. So, as stated, the official position of the Catholic Church on the Society of St. Pius X is that they are irregular, not schismatic, and that they are in communion with Rome, but this communion is impaired. I don't know why those sorts of comments would get me banned, but they are the most controversial ones I had left. Unless, of course, Disney finds not liking Disney Star Wars The Acolytes something that is hateful. Because I have made comments, but not many, because I simply wasn't that interested in The Acolyte anymore. But I made one comment that was basically a joke talking like Yoda, because we know they're going to ruin Yoda's character if they get a season 2. I made comments about certain other Star Wars-esque related themes within The Acolyte. I also made a comment 2 days ago where I was somewhat curt because I'm tired of having to explain that faith is not belief without evidence, but I didn't even say anything hateful there either. It was in a Tick History comment section, of all things. But that was 2 days ago, and I was banned. Today. Why was I banned from posting for 24 hours? I don't know. They didn't show me the offending comment that got this. Perhaps it was from 2 or 3 days old and the AI just found it now, or perhaps someone reported it. I don't know, because YouTube has a tendency of not informing you about what content that you've posted in the comment section that they've deemed to be hateful. But they do ban you for it. And I can't even tell you, don't be like me. Here's my mistake, learn from it. Because I don't know what my mistake was. When I comment to atheists, which is often because they invade Christian channels, I can guess what they are, because quite contrary to the mythology of the atheist community, there is no Christian privilege in our society. There is atheist privilege, where our society bends over backwards to accommodate the atheist narrative of how they merely lack belief in a God, and therefore have no burden of proof, how they're rational and want a rational society, and how their humanist values, informed by empathy, would help society, and all that Tommy rot that we all know isn't really true, but the media and the platforms like Google and YouTube tend to favor them over Christians. So when I get banned and I've spoken to atheists, I largely assume it's from something I said to them, because anyone who talks to atheists online knows the sort of militant atheist. And by the way, for those who might be this sort of atheist, if you endlessly berate Christians using harsh language, profanity-laced posts, and talk about how awful and horrible they are, and how Christians are child abusers and make pedo jokes about clergy and all that, you are a militant atheist. I don't care that you want to tell me there's no such thing as a militant atheist. There is. But having said that, the atheist comments never seem to get banned. They can say whatever they want. They can accuse all clergy of being pedos. They can accuse all Christians of being child abusers because raising children in religion is child abuse. They can talk about God as a psychopathic dictator, a ruler of a celestial North Korea, like the divine prophet Christopher Hitchens most holy said. They can talk about how religious people are irrational, and how Christianity is immoral, and how the Christian God in the Bible condones rape, slavery, and genocide, and how Christian history was what gave us the Dark Ages, and that Christianity does nothing but harm. And they will never have their own comments banned. They will not be banned for 24 hours for making such comments. But if you respond to those comments, you could be banned for hate speech because you are making the atheist feel bad, somehow. However, this time, it doesn't make sense because I wasn't even talking to the atheists. I wasn't pointing out their hypocrisy of how atheists are not really freethinkers because they just quote other atheists, or how even though atheists claim that communism had nothing to do with atheism, it definitely did, or how what they themselves are saying is not rational, or things along those lines. Rather, I was commenting about current events, and not even making outlandish comments either for or against Trump, or about the assassination attempt or the resignation of Biden. Just little comments and a few jokes here and there. I said nothing that could be construed as hate speech, and yet I have been banned for 24 hours, and I can't even tell you what post I made. It is more than likely deleted, but I can't just look through my comments for the last 2 days and see the one that was deleted and figure it out even. Because YouTube has an odd tendency of deleting my posts anyway, without warning and without banning me. I don't exactly know why this is happening to me, nor do I know why I have been banned for 24 hours from leaving comments. But I know that I have been. And I honestly think that Google should acknowledge that their artificial intelligence, their system for determining what is and is not hate speech, is fundamentally broken. Not that they will. I honestly think that while they would agree that certain things shouldn't be banned if the human were reviewing them, I honestly think that they deliberately created the AI to favor certain political positions and certain philosophical ones, shall we say. Atheist privilege. But at the same time, when I can't even make normal comments, which are like everyone else's comments on the same video and on the same topic, when I'm agreeing with basically everyone there, and I still get banned for 24 hours because I am a habitual offender, it is time to ask, why am I being banned? And can we possibly review this system, because it really does seem unfair. And I'm certain others are having this issue, mainly because others have talked about this issue both on YouTube, in the comment sections, they have made videos about it, and on other platforms, like the Shoot a Bit, or Ramble, or Gab, or even on Reddit, where they have spoken about YouTube. So let's face reality. I am not the only one having this issue. And it is a serious issue. It is also why I am speaking in a loose imitation of a transatlantic accent now. Because my posts are actually being monitored by AI, and so are my videos. So, the AI has a harder time with the pauses and the nasally speech, at least for now. It has such a problem. Nevertheless, I honestly think that YouTube should consider reviewing its policies regarding its removal of hateful comments, because it is obvious that they are removing comments that aren't particularly hateful, and leaving comments that are more hateful than the ones they are removing. It is also obvious that this system is unfair and biased in favor of certain groups and people with certain opinions. Do you honestly think Destiny, for example, is being banned at this very moment for the things he said about Donald Trump and Donald Trump supporters? Of course not. Do you think the people who comment agreeing with Destiny are being banned? Of course not. Do you think the people who listen to Aaron Raw or Matt Dillahunty and quote what they're saying and how awful Christians are being banned? Of course not. But they will ban certain Christian speakers. And they will ban people who listen to certain Christian speakers, who I have to leave nameless because I am afraid that this video would be targeted if I actually mention certain names. And believe it or not, I'm not talking about radical ones. I basically can mention those much more freely so long as I am being critical of them. But I'm not talking about a certain Baptist pastor who is independent. Anderson. Or people like that. Or like Phelps of his Baptist Church of the Borough of the West. No, I'm talking about more mainstream ones. I know, because I've had videos that I was told were hate speech by just mentioning their names. And that's why I've decided to post more on the Shoot the Bit and perhaps Ramble than here on the Tube of You. But still, it is frustrating for someone stuck at home waiting for a surgery with no connection to the outside world to lose one of the outlets that he has for contacting the outside world. It is frustrating to be labeled as a repeat offender for hate speech when your speech is less hateful than the people you are responding to. It is frustrating to see people making hateful comment after hateful comment after hateful comment and getting away with it, whilst they are banning people for making lighthearted jokes that are very clearly not intended to be hurtful at all. And I've seen people do that, not just me. YouTube, your system is broken and unfair and needs to be revised. YouTube, you should stop banning people for saying things you don't like, because what you are determining to be hate speech obviously operates on a double standard and is clearly attacking people who should not have their comments removed. Ideally, I wouldn't have any comments removed unless they are criminal or particularly egregious. But I would leave comments up that people find offensive because, well, I believe in free speech. And while this is a platform, and maybe there should be some common sense restrictions on free speech, the one thing you can't really say is that there should be restrictions for some people that don't apply to others. And I would rather have people being offensive to me while I can be offensive to them back than to have a platform that tells me I can't be offensive while they can. Having said all of that, I have not much else to say, so thank you, God bless, and goodbye.